Come on, let's do it.
All right, I got to get this going. You see a bunch of stuff behind me here. We'll talk about it in a minute. We got to get cracking because it's Thursday night and I've got to get up for work tomorrow. But I want to get this on the stove, and I don't know if I'm losing it or what. But I don't think I'm losing it. But here's the thing. I can't remember what we did and what we didn't do anymore. And I think it's because, first of all, I've repeated a few different recipes over the years. But we're going on, 4 years or something? And there's 220, well, there's 220 numbered episodes. If I count Quick Tips, TGIFF, all those ancillary episodes, probably almost 250 episodes. I try to, when there was up to about 100, a few more than 100, I would scroll back through to see what did we do, what didn't we do. I can't remember anymore. Have we made gumbo? Because that's what we're doing tonight. I know I talked about it and maybe showed a few stills after the Man Myth and Kid Doc were here, because we made gumbo that weekend. So I don't know if I've actually done it as a recipe on the show, but we're doing it tonight. And even if we did do it, it wasn't this one, which is top of my list. I probably made a chicken gumbo if we did it. But we're doing shrimp and oyster gumbo with andouille and okra. Couldn't be. The only thing that could top that for me is if I had some nice blue crabs to throw in there. But I've had this gumbo in New Orleans, and it is phenomenal. So let's see what we have on the board. There's a lot of prep though, so that's why I want to get to it. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
Andouille, and this is Adele's andouille. It's the only one I buy up here. It's nice, all natural, humanely raised, no nonsense inside there. Shrimp, of course, my Gulfs, shucked oysters, and we're going to make a quick stock. You know from past episodes, anytime I use these Gulfs, the shells go right in the freezer. So I've got some water coming to a boil back here. We're going to make a quick stock. The only stock I have in the freezer right now is the one we made together a few weeks ago. That nice bone marrow with the chicken. Too rich, too dark for a seafood gumbo, in my opinion. So we're going to make a quick shrimp shell stock here. Take maybe 20 minutes, and that's how long it's going to take me to prep all the veg. And Holy Trinity, of course, for any Cajun. Onion, I'll use mix. Onion, shallot, celery, and green bell. The Holy Trinity. We've got our okra. Now, a lot of people don't like okra because of the slime. And as the great Cajun chef Justin Wilson used to say, you got to de-slime that okra. And what you can do is you can soak this in vinegar for about 20 minutes. But we're not going to do that. Because first of all, I don't mind the slime. And also, it acts as a thickener in the gumbo. We do have our filet powder, which we'll use when we serve. But the slime inside the okra actually acts as a thickener. Of course, roux. I've got some butter here. And, oh, I don't have it out on the board. I'm going to get some all-purpose flour. Leon Perrin. Old Frank's. The usual suspects. My homemade Cajun seasoning. We'll use a little bit of that. So, I've got a lot of prep to do. The shrimp shells are in. What I'm going to do is when I slice up the onion, I'll put the ends in there. Oh, I got new celery this week and I went chopping. I had a little bit in the fridge. So let's get that in our stock. This will be a nice light stock, but you'll be surprised how tasty these shrimp shells make it. Otherwise it would just be water, right? So I'll put the onion ends in, the shallot, and we get a nice little stock going while I prep everything up. Okay, and we're going to make a roux in the Dutch oven with the butter and flour. I'm wondering now, that's why I sort of stuttered there, whether I should brown off the andouille before we make the roux. I think I'm going to. So I will cut this into quarters. Quarters, I mean like the coin, not fourths. you know, quarter-sized pieces like so. And I'll brown those off, and then in that fat, I'll add the butter and make my roux. All right, I got a lot of prep. See you back here when everything's ready. Okay, butter, and that was about 2/3 to 3/4 of a stick of butter. You really want a whole stick to a half cup of flour. A whole stick of butter is a half cup, so you want flour to fat pretty equal. So I beefed it up with a little olive oil, and now we're going to put our flour in. Now roux, this is going to take a while, and you have to be very careful with it so you don't burn it. So I set the camera here where I can just kind of reach up to the on-off button, the record button, because I'm not going to leave it on for the whole time, but I want you to see the color change. So, and I apologize if we already did this, but we're doing it again. Shrimp and oyster gumbo with andouille and okra. Got my andouille, quality control, browned off. So spicy, delicious. All right, look at that. That's like I don't know, let's call it beige, right? I'll shut the camera. You have to stir, unlike the risotto and the polenta, which I spoke about, this has to be stirred constantly. If you burn it, you have to start over. It gets real bitter. All right, I'll show you the next color change. I'll be back. Okay, you can see this is the next phase. It's taking on a very light, not quite peanut butter yet, but it'll get there. And you'll see little black flecks. Normally, if this was a straight roux, just flour and oil, or flour and butter, and you see those black flecks, it means you burned it, and you have to start over. But those are because I did the andouille first, the little bits of fond. And in my experience, what it'll do is it'll look the same, look the same, look the same, and then boom, it just changes a darker shade. Look. And we want almost dark chocolate. The darker the roux, the sweeter the stew. I think maybe we did a gumbo, because I believe I've used that phrase on here before, but I don't know. I might have been talking about it and just put the stills up. Look at the color starting to change. All right, camera off. I think the next time I turn it on, I'm going to show you the final color stage, but you can see it changing color, right? All right, we'll be back when it's dark and ready for the veg. All right, we're not there yet, but I turned back on because I want to show you it is changing, but also I forgot to mention over here on this burner, I've thawed out. I don't want to put it over the roux because it'll drip in. I had in the freezer some 2024 San Marzano aromas. We are going to add a little bit of tomato. Goes beautifully with the seafood. And now we're really changing color. Look at this. All right, I'll be back at finish level. Look at that. Dark chocolate now, right? But we're going to take it just a step further. We're going to get it almost black. I've got my Holy Trinity ready to go in. Trinity, there are actually 4 items, but we'll count the onion and shallot. They're both allium. So allium, capsicum, the pepper, and the celery. So yes, the Holy Trinity. Look at the color on this. And the color doesn't just change, the aroma changes over the same amount of time because you're cooking out the flour. You're getting that raw flour flavor cooked right out of it. Oh, this is a beautiful roux. As long as you concentrate, do not leave this stove. I have not stopped stirring since I started. I'm using my left hand to turn the camera on and off. All right, I think we can go in now. And this is one of my favorite things. I'm going to put the fan on because I've got a lot of smoke. Hopefully you can still hear me clearly. But the aroma that emanates when this goes right into that hot roux is unbelievable. Ah, amazing. Get it all in there. Oh, that's Cajun right there. That is the basis for everything. Oh yeah. Oh, gumbo, baby. I mean, let me tell you something. In today's economy, you think eggs are bad? This little tub of oysters, I think, was 17 bucks. But I make this gumbo. If I make it once a year, it's a lot. Totally worth it, and this is going to carry me right into the weekend. Had some guests planned for Saturday, but they couldn't make it. So, looks like it's me and my gumbo over the weekend. Alright, let's go in with the tomatoes. 2024 San Marzanos. Beautiful tomatoes. And now what we can do is start seasoning this up even before I put the stock in. So let's start with a little bit of kosher salt. Some black pepper. We'll go with some Liam Perrin, Worcestershire. Splash it with one quick hit of Frank's. The homemade Cajun seasoning. This stuff's spicy. I'm not going to go crazy. Maybe a teaspoon, right? It's got oregano, cayenne pepper, salt. Alright, we have to add our shrimp shell stock, but let's give this a taste. It is hot. Hot, hot, hot. Be very careful. Transfer a little bit here. Oh, great flavor already. And this is going to cook at least an hour. I haven't even added my seafood, but let's go in with the shrimp stock now. I'll start by removing some of these shells. We can pour it right through a strainer, but just to make the tipping a little bit neater, let's get rid of some of it. Actually, we should probably QC this liquid, no? Let's do that. Yeah, it really soaked up that shrimp flavor. Beautiful. So, let's take this pot. Not going to use it all. Going to donate some to the freezer. So we want the gumbo kind of thick, soupy. It will cook down. Start with that and see how thick we are. We'll turn that back burner off now. We're done cooking that. Yeah, nice consistency. It's going to cook down. We can always add stock if we need it. If it gets too thick. Remember, the okra is going to thicken it up. Actually, having said that, maybe I will add a tad more stock, because we're going to go in with the okra, which will act as a thickening agent. Okay, I thought that was going to be hotter. Here we go. That has all that shrimp flavor, plus the onion, celery. Okay, now let's QC test this. Seasoning. Oh, phenomenal. I'll let this simmer for a good 5-10 while I chop up the okra. The shrimp is peeled. I added those peels to that, but I do need to devein it. So I'll see you in a few. and we'll get the veg in, we'll get the fish in, and we'll just let it simmer. Oh, how could I forget? Let's put the andouille in, because that was just browned off. Let's let that start cooking while I get the other ingredients ready. Andouille in. It's only been 5-10 minutes. Cleaned out the shrimp, cut up the okra, and the flavor has already improved. It's about cooking that roux down really dark like we did. By the way, pardon the hat. My hair's gotten totally out of control. I'm going to see the Egyptian barber Saad on Saturday. My boy Saad. So we have, here's the okra. Andouille's in. Let's get the okra in because it's going to start thickening it up. We did not de-slime it. We want that slime in here. Now I can turn the heat up a little. I had it way down. Let's get our stock off the stove. There's still valuable stock in there that will get strained and frozen. Andouille in, okra in. Now normally with fish, as you know, seafood you don't overcook, especially shrimp and stuff, but in a gumbo, you throw it in early and you just let it go. It can go 2 hours. I mean, in a big crock over a fire down south, they'll cook it 4 or 5 hours with the fish and everything. So let's go in with the shrimp and the oysters, liquor and all. And it is 7:30 right now. I'll cook this about an hour. This is not for supper tonight. I had some stuff when I got home. We'll of course taste a miniature bowl. I'm not even bringing it for lunch tomorrow because it's, you know, to heat up and everything. I'll have this as Friday night supper over some rice with some filet powder. I have some scallion and fresh parsley to chop as a garnish. First time I had gumbo was in New Orleans. I was in my 20s. I got invited to Super Bowl 20. All expenses paid at a luxury hotel in the French Quarter. I was there for 5 days. And from what I've heard, I had a great time. I'm making a mess, but I'll clean my stove. Now you can test it. Now you can check your seasoning. A little more Cajun. Did the Ming Tsai, right? Taste the liquid. A little more Worcestershire. And another hit of Frank's. Let's give that a stir. Oh, you know what I see on my counter? This is non-traditional, this is non-Cajun, but acid hurts no dish. Just a touch of lemon. Listen, we have shrimp in there, we have oysters in there, right? A little lemon juice. That's my improv for the week. All right, this is just going to be a simmer. Let me give it a taste. The lemon, right? Pinch of salt, and it's done. This is just going to simmer away. It'll thicken down nicely, and I'll see you for a taste in about an hour. All right, let's give this a try. It is 8:30. I don't like to eat much closer to an hour before bed. I prefer 2, but it is the weekend tomorrow. I've got some scallion here, a little green onion. Chop a little of that. I've got some fresh parsley. Let's chop a little of that. And let me reposition here and we'll get the overview. Okay, I'm sure you can hear the pot bubbling away. I did wind up doing some rice. Made a cup of rice. Came out perfect. Because this is not my supper tonight, okay? This is going to be supper tomorrow. I'm not even bringing any for lunch tomorrow. I'm bringing a salad. But this is a nice sized pot of gumbo. So let's just have a little bit tonight. I'll ladle some into this bowl here. I did go a little bit overboard with the shrimp shell stock. I mean, it's delicious, but it was a little thin. So what I did was I added some filet gumbo right to the pot, because that's also a thickener. So let's take a little bit of rice. I have my little ice cream scoop here. Just go with a little. I don't want too much starch before bed. Let's garnish it with the scallion and parsley. A little more filet. Dried sassafras leaf. And let's see how this shrimp and oyster gumbo with andouille and okra. I'm gonna get a little piece of okra, a little piece of andouille sausage, and some rice. Hot. I mean, it's spicy, but I mean thermometer hot. Woo! Oh boy, but tasty. Beyond tasty. I told you I first tasted this stuff in New Orleans, and this is right up there, man. You gotta make that roux. Let me get an oyster. You know what? I didn't get a shrimp in my ladling. Let me get one shrimp. There's a piece. Oh, it's hot though. Piece of shrimp first. Oyster with some rice. These are my favorite. Oh man. The only thing that could top this, I said it before, would be some blue crab. But this is the gumbo that I like. I mean, I love chicken. I've made it with duck. But this is the gumbo I love. Seafood gumbo. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to finish this, is it is Thursday night. I'm not even going to turn the camera on tomorrow. That's why I made the rice. I'll have a little tomorrow night over rice for supper. That way I can start editing all this footage from tonight. And then Saturday, when I get home from SOD, you'll get the before and after look, and we'll heat a little up, and I can give you the 2 days after quality control factor. All right, I'll see you all on Saturday. All right, major change of plans. I'm a little buzzed. I say that because people call me out. It's Saturday night, 9 p.m. Don't forget to change your clocks. I did go to SOD. Here's the before and after. I got the hair chopped off. But while I was driving around, I got a phone call in the car from none other than Tom Buddy. You remember him from Whiskey with Tom, one of my favorite ancillary shows. I mentioned ancillaries early in this episode. He won't go on camera. He's too shy. I miss Whiskey with Tom, and he really knows his stuff. But I said I was going to do the gumbo to wrap the episode. I was going to heat some up when I got home from the haircut with rice. But Tom came with a beautiful Italian wine, and I put out a spread. Check this out. It was amazing. So we made this on Thursday. It's Saturday night, 9 p.m. I'm going to taste this gumbo cold. I had some for dinner last night, so I won't be shocked. It's unbelievable. Just to show you can eat cold gumbo. I got a little okra here, a little piece of andouille, a little shrimp. The depth of flavor is indescribable on this. So I'm kind of glad the way the day worked out, because on Sunday, I'll upload this, but I still have the rice. I'll heat it in the steamer. I'll heat this on the stove. Man, this is as good as any gumbo I had in New Orleans, I gotta say. Andouille. Big old honking piece of andouille. I'll leave you with this thought though. Be careful making a gumbo like this, you know, if you're by yourself. I made it on Thursday night myself. Remember I had the bowl, I did the whole show thing. I couldn't stop eating it. I kept hitting it. I said I don't like to eat an hour before I go to bed. I was eating that stuff till 10 p.m. You know, so I'll just have another spoonful. I just got to taste it. I'll have another spoonful. This stuff is addicting. See you all for the next episode.
Come on, let's do it.